Okay, this is a quick rundown on the Angel of Death for Midnight Skeleton. Where can you find it? It can be found under People. Scroll down to Midnight Skeleton, not the Genesis 8 one, just the straight Midnight Skeleton, and there'll be another directory under that called Clothing. Now what you see here is just the base setup of things. There are no there's no dForce applied to any of this, so I wouldn't suggest using any of the clothing. I'll show you the easiest way to load things and to get up and running with it. I've got basically 4 directories, is it? Under the clothing directory you'll have materials, you'll have hierarchy poses, materials, ordinary poses, and scenes. There's also a wearable directory, and these have got the dForce weight nodes applied to them. But I'll show you the easiest way to load them, and that's all you have to do is go to scenes. Now there's 2 different scenes. There's one there with him just with the robe and the collar on him, and then the other scene is got everything fully loaded, like the sickle and the hourglass and the robes all in one scene. So all you do, double click on that, and what you'll see in the scene is him all loaded up. I've also got a floor plane there. That's for the clothes to collide against when the simulation runs, so the robe doesn't drop through the floor. Also under that I've got the base for him that he sits on. So after you run your simulation, you would turn your plane off and turn on the base that he stands on. Why I put just the full plane? It's just quicker to do. It's when you're simulating, it's a much simpler thing for it to calculate on, so that's the quickest way to do it. So now you've got your scene loaded, and what you need is your animation panel. So easiest way I found is just click on that, and I've already got it, the scene's already set to 120 frames and you're set to 60. Now say for this one, you can use the hierarchical poses on him. So I'll just show you. I'll load so you can view this better. We'll apply the smooth shader to him. Then what you would do is go back to your content library, go to your hierarchical poses, right, and this one's called the ferryman. You just double click it, it's loaded there. And one thing you've got to note, that this is a dForce only product. It's not really meant for conforming. I've just done the conforming clothes enough, so it's easy enough for it to be set up for dForce. So once you've set him up, that's the keyframe there. You'll open up your simulation tab after that, and that should be all set up properly for you. You shouldn't have to alter anything. It's up to you if you want to. But then you would click simulate. Okay, I just cut the video out there, so you don't want to be watching this go slowly. So that's what it'll end up like. So I'll just scrub through this just to show you what it looks like. So frame 60, and that's as simple as it gets. It conforms to the floor. You see that his arms and all that have got the simulation done to it. Then what I would do is just turn your plane off, turn your base on, and we'll just do a quick render. Now obviously I've just provided about 5 basic ones for you, but you can apply your own poses. So we'll just hit render there. Okay, now he's done rendering, and so that's basically that's the simplest way I found to load him up. And here's the second pose, which is fly. Again, that's all I did was apply the pose at frame 60, hit the simulation button, so it does quite a good job, dForce. Really applies the wrinkles well. This is the next one called stand, and it's just your your basic Grim Reaper stand. Collar sits down nice and conforms over the top of the one, no poke throughs, which is really good. This one's called walk. So again, you can see really good with the. This is a really bad object to be putting cloth on it, but it's done a really good job. And this one's called Night Watch. So I've only included 5 hierarchical poses, but I always like to put in a little bit extra. Now when you run the simulations, you can run them to the end if you want, but most of them are designed to stop at that frame at 60. So if you're simulating and it gets to 60 or a place that you want to stop, then you just cancel the simulation and it'll stop there. Now with saving simulated files, if you don't want to re-simulate it again, you can just save it as a scene file. But one thing you've got to be aware of, these scene files are pretty big. They're like 50 to 60 megs each. Well, that's for this particular project. So that's the 5 hierarchical ones. And that's just a shot of the base. That comes free with the pack as well. Now the second scene is very similar to the first scene. Just double click to load. And the same setup again. I've got the plane on there, and now I've got the base underneath after you've finished doing the simulation. So we'll turn that off, and same deal again, but on this one it's not hierarchical poses, it's ordinary poses. So you would go to your content library again, make sure your skeleton's selected, you're at frame 60 again, and then we'll go to poses. Let's see, here's a particularly nasty one. Apply your pose. So don't panic if it looks really bad there, because the simulation will fix that all up. So you've loaded your pose in, go to your simulation, hit the button, okay, now that's done. So as you can see, drops down, does a really good job in a lot of cases. I would have liked to put a belt in, but unfortunately the belt always ended up around his ankles, so I just had to make a material that would act like a belt. So that's basically how you do it the easy way. Load your scene in. It's got all the simulation settings on it. Then you're already at frame 60, apply one of your poses, and then just hit your simulation button. If you don't want to keep re-simulating again, you would save your scene, but just be aware that it's going to be reasonably big files, like 50 to 60 megs. Here's the poses that come with it, just a few different ones, but you can apply your own poses, but be mindful that you can't split his legs too wide, because the material will only stretch out so far. You can the next one I'll show you is some of you requested in the forum that you wanted a different way to load it in yourself, and that'll be next. Okay, this is the second way. There's a lot more work involved, and you're going to have to do a lot of stuff yourself. So first thing you want to do is add in the midnight skeleton. Okay, once you've done that, you want to go down to your clothing, wearable presets, iRays, and then you'll either load up your there's one with all, which has got all the props and everything with it, or just the one with the robe. So we'll just drag on loading by default. So he's loaded up, and just to check that all the settings and that are there with it, you'll see a dForce robe there and a dForce collar there. That's weight nodes. Like some parts will be constrained, like obviously around the belt area is where one of the places I took off the simulation. So right, you've got that loaded now, and the next thing you'll want is something to collide against the floor. So we'll go up, create new primitive, we'll go a plane, 2 meters by 2 meters, accept. Okay, that's all set up. Next thing you'll want to do is load in simulation settings. Now you can access them under clothing, and you've got two choices: the normal one, which we've been using, or the high quality one. But I would strongly suggest that you don't use the high quality one. It takes a long time to do, and it doesn't always give you the best results, but in some cases it's more accurate and will give you some quite good results, but only use that as a last resort. So just double click that, and when you get to your simulation settings, all that should be loaded up. Yes, exactly the same as the then it should be a length of 120. We'll go to the midnight scale and make sure he's selected. Then we'll move our animate timeline to 60. Let's find a Genesis 3 male pose, because you can use all Genesis 3 male poses with the midnight skeleton. Something simple so it doesn't take too long. Right, we'll just apply that. Go back and go to your simulation button, hit simulate. Okay, I'll cancel this now. So you can see, it'll work with other poses, but you just got to keep in mind the material will actually, if you split his legs too much, the material will actually roll up the legs. So this one, easy. And again, probably the easiest thing to do was, after you've set all this up, is save your skeleton as a subset, all of this as a subset. That way you don't have to set up. I might even include that in the final product, just to make it easier for you guys, so you can load it in. but not a subset with the simulation. This is like just before the simulation is run. You'd clear it and go save as subset. You probably accept that, and then you're right to load it in next time, but you're still going to have to hit your simulation settings when you load it. So make sure you hit that before you after you've loaded your subset. Next off, I'll just show you some of the materials and the props that come with it. Right, by default he comes in black. The props, these are wearable props, so you drag, go to the wearable section and just drag it on him and he'll grip. And same with the hourglass. It's sort of a grungy old wood type of grain that I've got for the material. The hourglass, I've put a fair bit into that. So, and both of these will come in gold and silver. And you can see I've got a sort of like a sand simulating down there with it as well, just to give it that authentic look. So if I wanted to, so if I went down to hourglass, clicked on the gold setting, yeah, I haven't got the top eye render on this because I want this to be reasonably quick. So that's basically just the two colours. Whoops. Also, the hourglass comes with glow colours as well. Now you might have to fiddle around a bit with this. As you can see, it's puts a light on his gown, so you may have to mess around with the tone mapping in this. You might have to lower it a bit. Obviously white doesn't really show up that well, neither does red. Oh well, black's probably not the best colour to be showing it on. Yeah, you can just see it there, but I like this one the best. So what else can I show you? We'll go back to the default. Same with the sickle, it's gold or silver. There's five colours for the cloak and robe. So we'll just go robe. So brown, just your basic stuff. Grey. Classic red. White, I don't know, I'm not sure if you'd ever use white, but who knows, you might have a good Grim Reaper. Now there's trim for both of these as well. So under Robe you'll see gold and silver. Obviously you just got to pick the colours that you want for the trim. Let's go back to say just an ordinary red, because also I've got hole settings, just ordinary transparency maps as well. So you'll come down to holes. Whoops, make sure you're selected first. Click holes, and you can turn them on or off as you wish. And the top as well. Oh, sorry, one thing I did forget was the actual base that comes with it. It's like just a mound with scattered bones over it. That's for him to stand on. Now there's it'll come with 3 different colours. The ground, that's obviously this is green. That's grey. That's brown. And it comes, the bones come in, they'll be light. That's dark. And this one's dirty. It's a lot darker one. So you might want to put that with the brown or something like that to give it a bit more. So that's just an added bonus that comes with the pack. Obviously you can use that with other figures, other props that you want. And that's about it. Well, I think that's about all the features I can think of at this stage. I might put up a tips and trick one as well to help you guys set up poses, what to avoid, and Well, this is my first dForce product. I hope I haven't made too much of a mess of it, but you got to start somewhere. So thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy it.